All right, is Ilia Topuria the fighter of the year when it comes to mixed martial arts? That is the question right now, because certainly there's a strong case for this. Because Saturday night, he went out there and beat another one of the contenders for fighter of the year in Max Holloway, a former champion, knocked him out, did something that no one's ever done before. Of course, there's other contenders out there. The one and only Poatan Alex Pereira, that went out there and beat 3 people via knockout, and 2 of which were former champions. Now, first of all, fighter of the year is kind of a made-up award, okay? It's not tangible. It doesn't matter. It's voted for by people at the World MMA Awards. Writers hand it out, UFC hand it out, but it's not a real title. But if you're a fighter, you want to get it. You want to be known as fighter of the year. All the hard work, the sacrifice, the blood, sweat and tears in the gym is paying off. You're doing the right thing. You're making waves. You're defending belts. You're winning fights. You're making money. And you're being appreciated. Now, as I said, it comes down to 3 people. Diego Lopez, Alex Pereira, and of course, Ilia Topuria. The other person that would have been in this conversation was Max Holloway, had Max Holloway have won. Remember that knockout against Justin Gaethje? And if he'd have beaten Ilia Topuria, I would have given it to Max Holloway. Imagine that, knocking out Justin Gaethje the way that he did after putting on that performance, and then taking out the undefeated Ilia Topuria. But none of that matters, because Ilia Topuria went out there and knocked out Max Holloway. Something that nobody's been able to do, okay? And that list includes Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, and loads of other tremendous fighters. Alexander Volkanovski. The list goes on. It really does. So, let's look at the details. So first of all, we've got Alex Pereira. Okay, this year he's been tremendous. Jamal Hill, Yuri Prochazka, Khalil Roundtree. Jamal Hill and Yuri were both former champions. Jamal Hill and Yuri both won the belt of Glover Teixeira, and Khalil Roundtree took him 4 rounds, gave him a good fight, but it was still a stunning display. So no doubt Pereira is in consideration, and it's not just the performances. It's the spirit, it's the attitude of a fighter. For example, Pereira stepping up short notice and taking on Yuri Prochazka when he was on the other side of the world with an injured foot or toe. His foot was a balloon.
My foot was a balloon.
Whatever the case may be, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see somebody that's dependable, someone that's reliable, someone that will take short notice fights and take on anybody and fly to wherever it is in the world. That is Alex Pereira. Of course, we got Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez had a tremendous year in 2023. Lost his UFC debut to Movsar Evloev, an undefeated fighter, pushed him to the absolute limit, took him the distance, almost finished him on multiple occasions, but didn't. But then he comes back, Gavin Tucker, Pat Sabatini. Won both of those fights, one by knockout, one by submission in the very first round. But that was last year. This year, Sadiq Youssef knocked him out, Dan Ige and Brian Ortega. Them last 2, they were by decision. And Dan Ige took that fight on very, very short notice. In fact, he took it on 3 hours notice. So, of course, a tick in the box if you want to talk about attitude of a fighter. And the way that he beat Brian Ortega, he could have finished him earlier, but he wanted to prove that he could submit him. But still, you can't hold that against him, right? Brian Ortega, great fighter. Dan Ige, great fighter. Sadiq Youssef, great fighter. Underrated, actually. But still, those names and those wins don't compare to what Alex Pereira did. Defending the belt 3 times. That is insane. And he did it in record fashion. First one was April. The next one was in October. Over a 5-month period, that man stepped in the octagon and defended the belt. Risked it all. Okay, so of course he's the belle of the ball right now. Everyone's talking about him. Everyone's doing Shama.
Shama! Shama.
His YouTube videos are through the roof. His bank balance is absolutely exploding, okay? His merchandise sales are ridiculous, I'm sure, okay? But is he the fighter of the year? I would say no. You've got to give it to Ilia Topuria. First of all, the man's 16-0. He's undefeated. That doesn't matter. What has he done for me lately? What has he done this year? Of course, Alexander Volkanovski, who he knocked out back in February, and then Max Holloway, who he just knocked out in Abu Dhabi. A tremendous fight, a fight that he was in control of, a fight where he showed everything you want to see. Confidence. He hyped up the fight. He sold the fight. He did this in the opening seconds. He took him down. He beat him down. He won the fight. Of course, there were some moments. Max Holloway is a tremendous fighter and one of the best boxers in the UFC. One of the best boxers that we've ever seen in all the mixed martial arts. Sadly, though, that wasn't enough. okay? Now, Max Holloway is unbelievable. I'm not here talking shit about Max Holloway. You won't find a bigger fan of Max than myself. But he did get knocked out. We saw what happened. 1 minute 34. Beautiful left hook, but that came after the right hand. By the way, there's a blog where I'm at UFC 308. If you haven't seen it, it went up yesterday. Check it out. I'm live at the fights doing an instant reaction. So check that out if you haven't. John, my editor, worked extremely hard on it. Anyway, back to the point. Alexander Volkanovski, this is the man that defended the belt 5 times. Won it off Max Holloway. Defended again against Max Holloway. Beat Brian Ortega in another defense. Then Chang Sung Jung. Then Max Holloway again for the 3rd time. And then Yair Rodriguez. Defended the belt 5 times. When you look at that and compare it to Jamal Hill and Yuri Prochazka, it sounds like I'm talking shit. I am not. They were great champions, but they didn't defend the belt. Alexander Volkanovski defended that belt 5 times. Yes, he lost his last 2 to Islam Makhachev, okay? But that was going up a weight class. At 145, he was the man. He was pushing everyone away. And Max Holloway was beating everybody, not named Alexander Volkanovski. But Max Holloway never got knocked out. So he beats Alexander Volkanovski, who defended the belt 5 times. And then he knocks out Max Holloway, which had never been done before. And you got to remember, Max Holloway defended the belt 3 times, okay? First of all, Max Holloway became the interim featherweight champ when he knocked out Anthony Pettis with a body kick. Then he took the undisputed championship off Jose Aldo. Then he defended it again against Jose Aldo and again against Brian Ortega. Got a doctor stoppage at the end of round 4. And by the way, he defended it again against Frankie Edgar. Now, the only person he couldn't beat was Alexander Volkanovski. So, Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway are the 2 greatest featherweights of all time until Ilia Topuria came along. Ilia Topuria steps in, knocks out Volk, knocks out Max Holloway. The King of Spain was in attendance. Every celebrity under the sun was there, all watching, all in awe, all inspired, all thinking, holy shit, who can stop this guy, right? That is your fighter of the year. Simple as that. I know Pereira fought 3 times. Great. But the opposition does not stack up. Jamal Hill and Yuri Prochazka are tremendous fighters. They are tough guys. And if I was down a back street, I'd rather have them 2 than Max and Volk. No offense, they're just way bigger.
Rick, where'd you get a hand grenade? I don't know.
They're big guys, they're tough guys. They're not people you want to mess around with, okay? But in terms of credentials, it doesn't stack up. It doesn't come anywhere close, respectfully, to Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. And Topuria just beat them both, knocked them both out cold. So, fighter of the year, without a question, without a shadow of a doubt, Ilia Topuria. And by the way, Ilia Topuria is going to go on to become one of the biggest stars this sport has ever seen. That's a fact. I'm telling you. King of Spain was in attendance. That's wild, okay? Ilia Topuria holds the key to opening up all of Europe. The UFC, mixed martial arts, it's a global sport now. It's a global phenomenon, a sensation. People love it. They can't get enough of it. But in Europe, they've been slow to catch on. Of course, in France, it was only just legalized 2 or 3 years ago. They're putting on events there. The fans are some of the best in the world, okay? Germany, it was legal for a few years. In England, we've been putting fights on for a long time now. And yeah, we've had 3 champions. Myself, Tom Aspinall, Leon Edwards. And by the way, I was Fighter of the Year. International Fighter of the Year in 2008 and 2012. I would have got it in 2016, but some punk called Conor McGregor came along and won 2 belts. So fair play to that guy. One of the biggest stars as well. But listen, Topuria holds the key to opening up all of mainland Europe and just converting so many people into being a UFC fan. He's going to make a ton of money. He's going to be a household name. He's going to rival the stardom of a Conor McGregor. And I cannot wait to see what's next. And he's got the possibility to go down as the greatest featherweight that this sport has ever seen. Still, who else is in the mix? Well, maybe Islam Makhachev, maybe Dustin Poirier. If he'd have beaten Islam Makhachev, there's some other people out there. Who do you think is the fighter of the year? For me, it's Lopez, Pereira, and Ilia Topuria. And without a shadow of a doubt, my pick's Topuria. But who is yours? Anyway, that's it. That's all I got time for today. Tomorrow morning, I'm going under the knife. I'm having another surgery. I was in there 2 months ago. I had a disc replacement in my neck. It has not resolved the issue. So tomorrow I have 2 surgeries at the same time in my neck. It has quite literally been one of the most trying and difficult times and periods of my life. But hopefully, fingers crossed, after tomorrow, it's a thing of the past. Do me a favor, subscribe, like the video, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this video. Anyway, see you later.